What is going on, guys, and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be showing you guys how to flat hop your AEG or Polar Star. Flat hopping is a very easy and beneficial upgrade that also is not super expensive. So most of the time when you hear about upgrading your airsoft gun, you have to spend a lot of money to get a lot of gain. When it comes to flat hopping and replacing your bucking and nub, there's actually quite a bit of gain with not a lot of money. So the products we're going to be using today is a Prometheus Promi Purple, which is my personal favorite bucking. That's why we're going to go ahead and use this one for the video. And the Namazu Flat Hop Firefly nub. This guy also is really good. Honestly, I do a lot of barrel builds for the shop, and this is one of the most popular nubs when assembling them. So when flat hopping, you don't have to go with these products. These are not products that you need to buy to flat hop your gun. Honestly, you could take your stock bucking, flip it inside out, shave it, buy just the nub, and upgrade it that way. You could pick up a cheaper bucking and go ahead and use that one. And there's tons of different nubs that you can pick up too. These are just a few, the Pro Nub and the Orga Dimensions. They all range relatively the same price-wise, but honestly, these two guys right here, you're sub $40, and the benefits are gonna be pretty awesome. When flat hopping your gun, you're only gonna need a few tools, and I don't know if I'd even consider some of these a tool. First one is a brand new razor blade. I highly recommend a new one, not a used one. It makes the job a million times better. You can pick up razor blades at Harbor Freight. I think you can get like 10 of them for literally like $1, or you can get a 100 pack for like $6. This is not the razor blade I prefer. I definitely prefer the actual razor blades over this one, but this is all we have right now, so this is gonna have to do. For this specific gun, which is the G&G LMG, you're gonna go ahead and need a small pin punch for the bolt catch. And I also recommend an Allen key that is 3mm to like 3.5mm. This is gonna help you flip the bucking. This is what I personally use when I do it. You don't want anything sharp because you could potentially tear the bucking. And then also, I love Super Lube. It's just synthetic grease with silicone. It works extremely well. You need an extremely small amount, but the tube we have has lasted literal years. So you can pick that up probably at Harbor Freight as well. I love Harbor Freight. It's cheap. You can get whatever you need there. So we're gonna go ahead and put this stuff kind of off to the side because we need to get into our gun. So for a standard M4, this is the G&G LMG. So it's gonna disassemble very similar to a standard M4. You're gonna go ahead and make sure your battery's disconnected and all that fun stuff. We're gonna flip the gun over, go ahead and grab that pin punch and punch out your bolt catch. It's just one little pin like this that comes out from the gun. Comes out extremely easily. We'll set that off to the side and pull this guy off as well. G&Gs, they're non-functioning, they're just for looks, but when you go to disassemble this gun, it actually gets caught right here on this ridge, so it needs to come off. So once you go ahead and you have out your bolt catch with the G&G LMG, you're gonna go ahead and push on this guy right here. When you push on it, the top will come off like so, and then this will lift up as well. So once this is up and out of the way, you can go ahead and lay your gun back down. Take your pin punch once again, pop that main front pin out, lift the gun up, and then you'll be able to just slide these apart. So you're not gonna need your lower receiver at all. So this guy can be set to the side. And once you're inside of your gun, you can go ahead and just pull your barrel assembly straight out. And then now you're not gonna need this upper receiver anymore as well. So once you have all that stuff to the side, we now have our bone stock G&G barrel assembly. We're gonna go ahead and get the stock parts out of it. This spring will slide right off the front, and you have a C-clip, which is this guy right here. Sometimes if you give it a little twist, it'll open up a gap for you to get your fingernail in. There it is. So yeah, once you get your C-clip off, it can be a real pain in the butt to get off. Some of them pop right off, some of them do not. Go ahead and take your hop up, and let's turn hop. Well, let's go ahead and turn hop all the way off. So give it a few twists as you pull the hop-up unit off of the barrel. If your hop-up unit wants to get caught on your bucking, you just have to play around with it and keep spinning as you take it off, and eventually it'll just work its way correctly. It can be really annoying sometimes, but honestly, that's the best way to do it. So after that, you can go ahead and pull your stock bucking off. So this bucking actually looks pretty darn nice. It actually is very, very nice. It has like 2 ribs on the inside, which is a very, very nice thing for G&G to include. That's why I could hop 3.2s pretty decently for being bone stock. But next thing you're gonna do is take off this pin for your hop arm. And as you just saw, it literally just shot it right off the unit. So once that's off, you can go ahead and remove your stock nub. So this is your stock nub. It's rounded and it's a lot squishier. So that makes it struggle a little bit when hopping extremely heavy BBs. So this guy is going to be done for now. And now our hop-up unit is completely disassembled, and we can set all these parts over there. All right, so now that we have the stock components completely disassembled, we can go ahead and break into our new bucking. You just reach in like so. And the cool thing about the Promi Purples is even if you weren't going to flat hop your gun, the Promi Purples come with a new nub. They're quite good, but typically when I break out a Promi Purple, it's getting flat hopped. So I don't really ever actually use these, but they're very, very similar to the stock ones they are very similar to the stock ones in their shape and density. They're very, very similar, but we're not going to need this guy. It's really nice to hold on to these in case you get a new gun, and you can literally just upgrade this. It's very little, but it's a gain nonetheless. So we're done with that packaging, and we can go ahead and grab our Allen key, or the little Allen tool. And what I do is I take this guy and I put the Allen key right in between the ridge right here, and I start to push, and you can see that it'll take the bucking with it. So I roll the bucking onto the Allen key, set it on the table, and then you start to kind of work this bucking backwards. And this is something that's going to take a few tries because it's actually quite difficult. And then you just have to keep working it until it flips inside out. This is the best method that I've personally used, and sometimes it'll fall off, but it stays like that. So you can actually see the inside of the bucking like that. Now just don't push too hard because you don't want to rip a hole through your bucking. So once you get to this point, you can see that you can grab the inside with your hands and start rolling it like so. And that's your bucking inside out. Very, very easy to do. But like I said, it takes a few tries. It's definitely, it's like putting a trigger in an AEG gearbox. It's going to take multiple tries before you nail it. And I still don't get it every single time. So now you can go ahead and use your stock barrel for this. You're going to go ahead and grab the front of the barrel, not the side with the hop-up window, and slide the bucking over the barrel like so. Now the reason you're doing this is because we need to remove this spine on the inside and this bump on the other side. The reason that needs to be removed is because when you flat hop, you're no longer using this. This is not going to be the contact patch on the BB. You're actually going to be using the flat portion. So since there is this bucking is going to be going on not the way it came off, you can't leave these on there. That's why when you buy a pre-flat hopped one, these aren't even on there to begin with. So this is where it becomes a little difficult and is a little nerve-wracking because you just bought a brand new bucking and you're going to be taking a razor blade to it. So when you go ahead and flat hop, you're gonna wanna go and take this razor blade and set it flat on the bucking right at the beginning of this spine, and hold down the bucking with your fingers and slowly start working. Trying to just get the best way to show on camera. Slowly start working this razor blade up the spine. Now, you can see that it's taking the spine off, but that's all it's taking off. You're not taking any of the actual bucking underneath off. You're strictly taking off the spine. So we're now going to get up to where it starts to round out, and this is where it does get a little tricky. But you just keep working. It's honestly better to take off less than more for obvious reasons. But just take your time and work your way right to the edge here without going through the bucking. And once you get to the end, you can pull it right off. So with the spine off, you're good to go. You can see that you no longer have any spine there anymore. I mean, obviously we just took it off. But when you close your eyes and run your finger over it, you can still feel that there's material higher than there's still material higher where the spine was. So that's what we're going to take off in the next step. So now we're going to work our way over to this bump right here. This guy, pretty much the same method. You're going to start right in the middle, press the razor blade flat against the rest, and just work it back and forth like so. Now, when I say that the razor blades work better, I really mean it, because these box cutter blades are not the best, and they don't really work as well as I'd like them to. And it makes for things not being anywhere as clean, and there's a higher chance I'm going to actually like rip the bucking rather than. So that one wasn't very great because there's still quite a bit of material there, but that's just what comes with it, because you can't get it perfect with the razor blade. So now we're going to go move on to the next step. All right, so we're not in the studio anymore. We're going to actually be showing you the next step. Forgot to mention you needed some sandpaper. So like I said, you can still feel material above the you still feel leftover material from where we took the spine off. So you can go ahead and take some sandpaper. This is 400. This is 400 grit. And you can honestly just work on sanding it down. Now you don't want to focus on one spot too much, because then you'll have flat spots. But you can like work around like this, and you can go up and down. Just essentially you want to sand this down to the point where if you closed your eyes and rubbed your finger over it, you wouldn't be able to tell that that's where the spine was. And you're going to want to have to do the same thing to this. Now, if you have access to a belt sander like this with a similar grit sandpaper or something that's just not super aggressive, I highly recommend it. It makes it so much faster and easier. I'm going to go ahead, grab these safety glasses, and use the belt sander and get this done really, really quick so we can go ahead and show you the rest of the install. So when you're using the belt sander, you want to go ahead and take, say, where the material was left over, hold the bucking either like this or like this, because the belt sander will grab it and spin it and then put an indent into your bucking. So you want to, when the belt sander is on, you want to very, very lightly touch the corner of the belt just where the material is. And when I mean lightly, I mean barely don't put pressure. You kind of just want to set the bucking on the belt sander. It's very, very little pressure, but you want to just very slowly take away this material so it's smooth. So we're gonna go ahead and kick this on and take off some material. When you go ahead and run your finger over this, you don't feel any material higher than the material around it. Same with this side. It doesn't look smooth, but it's not about, but you just don't, it doesn't look smooth, but when you run your finger over it, it is actually quite smooth. And your goal is to take the material down so that the entire bucking is level around the whole thing. So we're gonna go ahead and jump back into the studio and reassemble this. All right, so now that you have this guy sanded, you're gonna wanna go ahead and take it back off of your barrel. Grab your Allen key again, repeat the barrel flipping or bucking flipping process, and we're gonna go ahead and get this bucking right side up. So now that your bucking is flipped the right way, normally the spine would line up with this groove right here on your barrel, but you want to go ahead and find where that material is shaved on the inside of your bucking and actually put it at a 45 to where it would normally go. The reason for this is you don't want a shaved material to be the contact point of the BB because it's not 100% consistent no matter how well you sand it. So that's why you put it at a 45 where the untouched material will actually be making contact with the BB. So now, since you have your bucking all squared away, take your super lube, put a tiny, tiny bit on your fingertip. That's actually too much. So something like that. Grab your bucking and just kind of run it on your finger like that. And you want a very, very thin layer of super lube on your bucking. So you gotta wipe that off your finger and take your hop-up unit, and the line will always be the bottom of your barrel. So grab your hop-up unit and walk it on just like you walked it off. Now sometimes with aftermarket buckings, things are a little tighter, but everything should be good as you walk it on. All right, so once you got your bucking all the way in, you can go ahead and just clip that C-clip right back on. It should make a very satisfying click. And honestly, at that point, you can go ahead and take this. Well, after you go ahead and put the C-clip on, look down your barrel and make sure, into some light, and make sure that the bucking is perfectly circular. Sometimes when it goes in wrong, it'll hang over or you'll see a flat spot. This one doesn't have that. So we know that we're good to go in that department. So now we can go ahead and take the flat hop nub and you can cut it out of its package like so. And don't forget the roller bar on the other side like so. Now the roller bar is extremely small. So let's see if we can get the camera to even focus on it. So this is what we're working with now. So you go ahead and pick up your flat hop nub, grab this roller bar in your hand, and then you have to press it into this opening. Now it's hard to see, so once you get it started, you can just push it all the way in until it's flush. It's really not that difficult. Just make sure you're working in an environment where if you drop that, it's not gonna go in like shag carpeting or something. Just something on a pretty big table in case you do drop it. So now the last bit of cutting we're gonna need to do is on the bucking, on the nub. So you can see you have two of these like flaps. I don't really know the technical term. But for one side, you're going to go ahead and take the razor blade and press it against the outside, so against this flap right here. So I hope my head doesn't get in the way. So we're going to go ahead and push this up against this outward flap and make sure your razor blade's pretty straight or parallel with the nub and press straight down. So let's take a look at that. Looks pretty good. So you're gonna have a little bit of material hanging off. So honestly, I'm not entirely happy with that cut. It's kind of an angle. So the good thing about the method that I do when I flat hop is we're gonna go ahead now and just actually take the razor blade and push it up against the main rounded portion here. And then now we can push straight down along with that. And hopefully that's better. which it's much better, and it's actually flat. So now we can go ahead and repeat what I said originally and press this guy up against the outside like so. Make sure you're pushing straight down because you want this to be as straight as possible. So as you can see, this side we have no material, and this side we have the extra material. So once you have your nub all cut, go ahead and grab your barrel assembly again. And you're going to need to drop this into the hop up like so. And it helps when you have your little punch, press it down. Now that it's in there, you need to, I'm going to try to see it as you see it, move it up towards the hop up window where it'll sit on top of the bucking. Now we can go ahead and take our hop up arm and reassemble that. So then just press down until the opening, this hole lines up. Sometimes it helps if you rotate your hop up a different way and then down. So then you can take your punch again and there we go, line that hole up like so. So with some finagling, you'll be able to get that back in. It's actually quite difficult, but from here, you're going to want to go ahead and turn your hop up on as you look down the barrel to make sure that the nub is coming straight down. Slide your spring back onto the barrel. That way we can get ready for reassembly. All right, so now that we have the barrel assembly all back together, we can go ahead and repeat the steps that we did in the beginning by putting the gun back together. So go ahead, grab your upper receiver, slide your barrel like so. Now with this gun, it's a little different because you have this big flap right here. But now we can take our lower receiver, make sure that we clear the dust cover. Go ahead and make sure you clear everything as you put it back together. The G&Gs tend to just honestly go right back together. They don't really tend to fight you much. Pop that rear pin, grab your bolt catch, set it back in where you took it out of. Grab your little pin for the bolt catch, push that back in the way it came out. That can go in by hand. Drop these guys, and now your gun has officially been flat hopped. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and I hope it was pretty informative with how to properly flat hop your AEG or HPA. If you guys liked the instructional videos, please let us know and like the video. And if you have any suggestions, comments, concerns, anything, go ahead and drop those down in the comments as well. If you want to pick up any of these products, go ahead over to ampledairsoft.com. We have all of them available for you guys to pick up to upgrade your own gun. Thank you guys so much for watching, and have an awesome day.